with Robin Bromley-Martin. And Robin, let's deal with Douglas Harbour. And you gave evidence to the Tynwald Select Committee. Looking at what's proposed so far, it's achieving nothing, really, is it? They're going to spend money on something that doesn't really answer all the questions.
Well, I think that there's two separate issues here. First is value for money, and secondly is providing the facilities that will keep the island's lifeline to the mainland alive. By which I mean tanker sizes are increasing, and therefore I understand is not long before the existing tanker may be scrapped, in which case we may have a problem. If the Ben Macquarie broke down for whatever reason, it would be very difficult to find any other ro-ro ferry in the Northern Hemisphere under 140, 145 metres, and that couldn't fit into Douglas Harbour. So I don't see the Harbour's strategy as it sits today responding to either of those two issues.
Similar costs, just a little bit more perhaps, would be to go out past the existing breakwater.
Yeah, I think that given the sort of work I do in West Africa, where we're effectively moving historic river mouth ports out into, by 21st century standards, into commercial depths of water, I would think that the best long-term solution, the best value for money for the island, would be to create a new harbour commercial port right outside Queen Alexandra Pier, emanating with the breakwaters emanating from the head and heading in a northerly direction to maximise the wave protection inside the existing harbour.
And that would involve having the steam packet berths out there as well, and cruise capacity.
I believe, having done some drawings which will be available to the public shortly, that it should include a new tanker berth. It should include 2 new ro-ro berths. We can use one of the existing link spans, the other one's coming up for replacement, so we can design it to suit whichever optimize it for the new boats. We could bring a small container handling operation there. We could put the offshore oil and gas support vessels there for if indeed the gas recovery goes ahead off Mackle Head. And last but not least, the marginal cost to provide enough berthing space for medium-sized cruise liners would be pretty negligible. So I believe that we could respond, therefore, to all those 5 requirements for a truly commercial port to last the island several hundred years.
What would you do with, would it be a roadway straight out of Douglas on the South Quay side?
My suggestion is that we reclaim the area between the tank farm and the swing bridge to enable the heavy traffic to move along South Quay and straight up the hill to Cool roundabout, and thus keeping all the heavy commercial traffic out of the centre of Douglas.
And what would happen to the existing harbour?
The existing harbour is absolutely ideal for a second yacht marina, and the depth of water at low water springs is around 6 metres. And by my calculations, we'd probably be able to fit in about 250 berths, so it wouldn't be big enough for the island requirements. But to provide a means of sailing, for example, to Ramsey, or from Ramsey to Douglas, and making use of the 2 marinas that I'm proposing, would provide an added impetus to leisure sailing here on the island, in my view. And all it would require is clearly the removal of the link spans and the addition of pontoons. So therefore it would be relatively inexpensive means of getting another 250 all-tide berths in the centre of Douglas.
And of course you've got a lot of land there where the existing marshalling yard is. So what would you do with that?
Well, my suggestion, and I'm aware that the sea terminal may be classified as part of the island's industrial heritage, but definitely the car park, steam packet headquarters and the steam packet car park, in my view, could be converted into a residential semi-commercial area, creating bars and restaurants and a nice relaxing area, and tie that into the Lord Street development, and that would help offset the cost of the breakwaters generated clearly through the profit of the sale of the long leaseholds, I would suggest, apartments and townhouses.